Where have you seen Roman numerals before? I know. Rocky V. That was the fifth one. So, Rocky 5 plus Rocky 2 equals Rocky 7, Adrian's Revenge!
Rocky is arguably one of the best film series of all time, and one of my personal favourites. While I had some not so great films along the way, I can still get some enjoyment out of all the Rocky films. Much like the title character in this film series, it won't stay down, and has managed to reboot itself not only once, but twice. Rocky Balboa is less of a reboot and more of a revisit, but coming back after all those years and still managing to knock it out of the park is still a great feat. In this video, I just wanted to talk about Creed and how I think Rocky was able to pass the torch onto the next generation pretty much flawlessly. The first thing I want to mention is the introduction of new characters and the retention of old characters. Creed has more new characters than old, which helps us see this as a new series while also feeling like we're watching something we know. The fact that the new main character introduced, Adonis, is the son of Apollo, one of the main characters from the old films, helps us instantly form an emotional attachment to the character. The character is closely related enough to be familiar, but not so close that we can't see it as its own film. Like for example, if it was Rocky's son. Rocky still has a large role in Creed, but not so large that it overshadows Adonis. Rocky still has an opponent of his own to overcome in Creed, which is cancer. We get the old school Rocky montages, but this time with a new spin, with Creed training for his fight and Rocky fighting for his life while on chemo. This brings me to my next point, which is nostalgia. Creed has many throwbacks and references to the old films, but not so many that it becomes a complete nostalgia fest. We are going through this film with Adonis and Rocky, Adonis representing the new fans coming in and discovering all these things from the series, while Rocky represents the older fans who get to go back and enjoy these things that they haven't seen in a long time. The directors of this new series of films know just when to inject us with that nostalgia, playing the old score at just the right moment, seeing Rocky climb the steps again as an older, weaker man with a new battle to win, etc. But they also know when to stop. For example, in Creed 2 there was a deleted scene which featured Rocky going fist to fist with his old nemesis Ivan Drago. As much as I would love to have seen this, they made the right call by taking this out, as it would have been too on the nose and maybe even a little ridiculous. The filmmakers want to pay homage to the films that precede them, but they also want to set their own path and make their own legacy, much like Adonis in the film. Bringing me to my next point, style. The filmmakers are able to create their own style in these films which moves away from how the Rocky films look and sound, even little things like these boxing record graphics. It adds a new element to the series, again helping us see this as its own series. The soundtrack in these films features a lot of R&B and hip hop which modernises it for a new generation. Much like what I mentioned with the actors, the directors introduce a lot of new things while retaining some old things, which again helps us feel like we are watching something we know, while also helping us see this as a new story and a new set of films. The last point I'd like to make is about the actors and the crew themselves. You can tell that Stallone still cares a great deal about the character of Rocky, and is so happy to pass the torch on, and Jordan is equally happy to receive it. For example, Harrison Ford has been quoted as saying he was there to die and didn't really give a rat's ass who got his sword when speaking about The Force Awakens, and this comes through on screen. The opposite is true for Creed. You can tell Stallone is really happy to be there again, playing a character he clearly loves, and seeing his legacy be continued. I love Rocky, and I am so happy to see it continue for the next generation, and I only wish other film series could have done what Creed managed to do, in my opinion, so perfectly.
She's such a groovy lady. She makes my heart go hidey-hatey. She is the chick I spend my nights dreaming of.